This will be a very fun video because we are taking a comparison look at the original Transformers Prime Robots in Disguise Deluxe Doc Knock versus the new Legacy Knockout. Love him. Doc Knock, Knockout, the good doctor. He is one of my favorite Transformers Prime characters. He's so fun. I just love him in every way. He's so precious. We must protect him, even though he is a Decepticon who is not that good of a guy. But I mean, he's a good enough guy. He's done some good. He was an Autobot at the end. Spoilers, sorry, but he changed. He's evolved. And honestly, I actually have always really enjoyed the original Robots in Disguise toy. I think it's a pretty good interpretation of Knockout. Could it use a better paint job? Absolutely. Unfortunately, this was the era of Takara Tomy where they didn't give us good paint jobs, they gave us tons of stickers. So I don't have the Takara release of Knockout. I would still love to see a nice version of this Knockout. Cough, cough, APC Toys, I'm looking at you. However, when I heard that the Legacy line was going to be remaking Prime characters, I was super excited. I thought, finally, we're going to get like a really nice Bulkhead and a really nice RC and a really nice Knockout, but then it was revealed that they were G1ified, and I was initially so disappointed I wasn't going to get them, but I decided to get them anyway, and I'm happy I did. This Knockout's really cool. This G1ified, Prime Knockout. Unfortunately, I feel like it does miss some of the notes that made Knockout, to me, one of my favorites when it comes to the character design. Like, I miss the doors on the arms. I miss the spiked shoulders. I miss like the scooped, you can see he has like these scooped shoulders, and then the torso is very flat. I do miss that because he's Jazz. This is a retool of Studio Series 86 Jazz. It's just what it is. It's Jazz. However, despite that, I do feel like when I look at this, I see Knockout. I see the bot that will surgerize you. That's a word now. If you decide to scratch his paint, he'll make you prepare for surgery, and you'll just have to live with that. Oh man, I love both these guys. It's kind of funny. They're both the same height too. 10 years apart. Literally 10 years apart on these toys. Same height. $10 difference, but let's not talk about that. Alrighty, so let's look at the original Prime Knockout first. So he came with his nice little shocky weapon. He shocked people with it. Like I said, I've always really liked this figure. Is it perfect? No, it's not perfect, but it does capture all of the main design elements of the character. I really do like the shoulders. I like how it also has the lines on the inside, because I always like that detail where he has like that line work on the inside of his shoulders. I don't really know if you can see. He's got like the little rivets on the inside. I like the head sculpt a lot. He does have the spiked shoulders, but I think it would have been nicer if they were red. He does have the wheels sticking off the back. He has the doors on his arms. He just captures so many of the character design elements. I think this is pretty much a slam dunk of a figure. I really do like this one. Are the arms kind of awkward? A little bit. They're a little awkward, because you kind of have the door. When you start bending the elbow, you can see the doors flexing against the arm, and I'm kind of worried that might, hurt it someday. But it's not that bad. You still get some posability. It still looks great. He still looks the part. I really do like him. If you notice, he's a little bit wet. Like I said, he's a 10-year-old figure. So before this video, I did wash him. I gave him about an hour to dry, but I guess some of the water in the crevices it's still there. But really awesome figure. I really do like him. His articulation, he's got a ball joint at the head, ball joint at the shoulders, little hinge for that right there, bicep swivel, hinge at the elbow, ball joint at the hand, so you get a rotation and a little bit of a movement there. Nothing at the waist for transformation, but you do have legs that move forward just a little bit. There is a cover out, thigh swivel, nice knee bend, but it's mostly for transformation. And you have a foot that's on a ball joint that kind of moves side to side, and it's on a hinge too. So you get a lot of foot articulation. Like, honestly, you can get this guy in some pretty nice poses. It's not perfect, because, he does have a little bit of, Transformers Prime RID awkwardness to him. That's just how he is. But, yeah. You can get him in some nice poses. I really love Knockout. Shock and drop. Speaking of that, you do have his shock and drop stick. It is on a hinge. you can move it for whatever reason. You can also split it. That's actually the easiest way to get it in his hand, because he is one of those figures that has fingers. Oh, if you don't know, that means they can break. But yeah, you just kind of take it in half, slot it through, and put it in. It's pretty nice. We'll leave that out of his hand, though, because I'll have to transform him in a second here. I do wish it had some more paint. I mean, you can see he does have some of the deco from the car mode, but he doesn't have the gold rims, man. I wish he had the gold rims. There's just so much I think they could have done, and I would have loved a Takara repaint where they made him like all nice shiny red. So you really would have, you know, wanted to preserve his finish. That would have been really fun. So there's the original one. Like I said, this new one is a retool of Jazz. Do I think it shares any parts? I don't know for sure. It might have some like internal parts it shares. I honestly didn't look. The main thing it's sharing is the transformation scheme. So you can see flipping this back. You can see, unfortunately, those should be on the arms in my opinion, but they're just tucked on the back. Yeah, I do kind of miss some of the design elements that made Knockout. I miss, you know, the wheels in the back and like the scooped shoulders and the flat chest instead of the hood chest. I don't know, but when I look at it, I still see Knockout. Let's look at this G1ified head sculpt, because I actually think that's pretty well done. I do wish it had a smirk, because I loved the smirk on this one. I didn't even mention that. That is such a characterful smirk. Man, that's Knockout right there. It's such a perfect head sculpt. This, it's just a stoic face. I think of all the characters that should have had a smirk, it's Knockout. Because he was either smirking or screaming. That's just what he was doing. And just seeing it stoic, I don't know, it's kind of disappointing. I do have to say, though, this figure is very nice. Breakdown would be tickled. I love him. It's still a pretty good figure. I mean, he's got the Jazz articulation. He's got a rotation there. He's got a ball joint. It's pretty standard Transformers fare from what we expect nowadays. He does have knees that tab in for the transformation. I did have this issue with Jazz where they didn't tab in well enough and trying to move the knee. Like, it wanted to move there first, but I do have to say it tabs in better with Knockout. I'm not really having that issue too much with Knockout, so that's pretty good. You do have a nice ankle tilt, though, with Knockout. I really do like that. Really nice ankle tilt. And it does move down a little bit, but that's pretty much for transformation. He does have his weapon. He also has the same shock and drop stick. It is in 2 parts now. That part can be removed for whatever reason. It does have a peg on it. And then instead of having open hands or having like a way to just slide down, it's got a handle right there. I am sure you could get the proper stick through, since awesomely, at the end of the day, like, we still use the same system that we have for years and years. Let's just see if we can get this in. I feel like we're so close. There we go. So yeah, you can actually have him hold the old one, which is pretty fun. I think that's nice. It actually looks really nice with the old one. But for me, the old one, it's got to stay with the old figure, right? I do have to say, though, the deco on this one is pretty nice. He does have the nice colored rims, and I do feel like it has more of the deco along the doors and everything. Like, it's got more of the striping, and it's got more of like the gunmetal gradient. I do think the deco, especially in the car mode on this one looks really great. So, with that being said, let's get into the car modes on these guys. So, let's start with good old OG Doc Knock. This one is a little bit concerning because there's a lot of clear plastic going on here. And I'm worried to death that I'm going to break this guy. And if I broke him on camera, my heart would shatter and I would quit YouTube forever. So let's hope that that does not happen. You can see, though, it's a pretty fun and fluent transformation. Like, I'm getting it. It's going. I'm trying to remember how how all this works, though. Man, you can tell it's a 10-year-old figure. Look at all that, like, oxidation on the metal pin right there. Okay, so then this will... Oop, there goes his arm. At least... Oh, man, I'm getting so much water on me from exposing all the vehicle mode pieces. Okay, so that will rotate. This is always the hardest part, is the arms. And I haven't even gotten to why they're really difficult. It's because you hinge this out. Please don't break. Please don't break. The hand will fold in. This, like, rotates and then folds back in again. And then I'm missing something. It rotates, and then it goes. I think. Oh, there goes the arm. Man, it's been years. Okay, it's been years. Please forgive me. It rotates here maybe, and then it flips in. Yeah, there we go. You rotate the bicep too. There we go. So you rotate the bicep as well. So let's go ahead and do that beforehand and not pop off the shoulder. So rotate the bicep. Or first let's flip this hinge. Ooh, ooh, scary. Ooh, scary. Ooh, that click was not fun. Man, 10-year-old clear plastic. I'm worried. At least it's just the one hinge, you know. I don't have to worry about this crazy multi-hinge system, which I still to this day, like, I'm sure you've noticed, it's a little confusing. I mean, I've had this figure for a decade, and it still confuses me. So then it flips like that, and then like that. There we go. Very interesting. And then the legs are much simpler. You just connect them and collapse them. Much simpler. Man, I'm loving revisiting this guy. Man, I love Prime. Again, I'm so sorry he's so wet. He would have looked a little... He did look kind of grimy. I mean, he was kind of collecting dust for a little bit. But I cleaned him up. I polished him. His finish is a lot better now. And last but not least, fold this straight, fold that down, kind of covers the head a bit. And there we go. There's his vehicle mode. Looks pretty good. I love the little bit of gold right there, but I wish they would have put it on the rims. Someday I'm thinking I might just paint it myself, because I kind of need him with the rims. You can see it does have a nice gradient on the side, but I feel like it's kind of missing some of the detail the Knockouts car mode had. Overall, it's a serviceable figure. It's a nice car. It looks great. It's a very nice figure. I still really like it. It still really holds up, in my opinion, as one of the better Transformers Prime Deluxes. I really enjoy it. The new one, on the other hand, it doesn't have as much going on. At the end of the day, it's a jazz retool. What do you expect? So within seconds, I've already formed a decent chunk of the car. It does have a little bit of a trick where you fold the head in, and then you fold this piece up to kind of fill in that gap. It's like one of the trickiest things. I remember when I first got Jazz, I was trying to figure it out without the instructions, but I had to look to figure out to rotate that waist piece right there. The legs are kind of hard because you have to like figure out exactly what's catching this, and like you're just trying to move it and you kind of struggle. Like it's working right now, of course, because I'm filming. But like going back into robot mode, I feel like there's this one particular place that the side catches, and it's kind of hard to find it. But one funny thing, though, this is hilarious. The arms do work kind of similar because they go inside out, but it's so funny how much easier it is to just put the arms in his body. You know, it's just so much easier. Like, look at that. You just fold in the hand, orient it. There you go. There's not as much of a wrestle there. But at the end of the day, that's because the doors were just on his back. They just kind of connect. You do have to line up this tab with the arm. You do want the door to tab into the arm. These tabs are very tight back here. You heard that's a pretty loud click. But get that tabbed in. And I have to say, when it comes to a battle of the vehicle modes, I really do like the multi-tone down the middle there. But looking at the side, ooh, those rims though. And I love that pattern on the side. When it comes to the vehicle mode, I think I just like the sheen and the look and the polish a little bit more. Just a little bit. I really do like both figures. They're both very nice. It's Knockout. I love Knockout. They're great. Do I recommend them? That's always a question at the end of the day. Like, do I recommend one over the other? Well, that depends. If you like Transformers Prime but only really collect Generation stuff, then I think this is an awesome opportunity to get some pretty cool Transformers Prime characters. Because they still fit in with, you know, G1 with classic stuff. Like, I have a Knockout that I can put with like a G1 style breakdown, and that's kind of cool, you know? However, if you love the Transformers Prime show and you want figures that are faithful to the show, this one on the left here, still, a decade later, really holds up. I really enjoy it, I really like it, and I really recommend it. I recommend both of these. If I had to pick one, if I could only keep one Knockout, it would still be the one on the left, because that is Knockout. And on top of that, I've had the toy for 10 years. I kind of have grown attached to it. It's been a decade. I've kind of warmed up to it. I love it. However, this new one, being a Knockout fan, is definitely a worthy addition to my collection. Will I get the red one? The robot enhanced design. I've seen it in stores. I kind of like my robots to transform. You know, I do like non-transforming Transformers action figures. Don't get me wrong. But I'm not going to have a whole collection of them. They're one-offs. They're favorite characters. I'm not going to have a whole collection of Transformers Prime stuff, but it doesn't transform. I just can't collect like that. So I'm probably still going to pass. Nonetheless, these are both awesome figures. I really like them both. Really recommend them both. But if I could only pick one, it would still be the one on the left. Alrighty guys, there we go. Thank you so much for watching. Special shout out to the patrons at Patreon. Thank you all so much for the continued support. Alrighty, there we go. Have a good one, and I'll see you in the next video, I guess. I was trying to think of a Knockout quote, but I couldn't fast enough. Oh well.